Your time right now is 9:40. We're following breaking news that we've been on top of all morning long.
And right now, one person is seriously hurt and dozens more are without a home after a massive fire at a Baden apartment building. Let's get right out to Captain Garrett Mosby live with us this morning with the St. Louis Fire Department. He's joining us from that scene. Captain Mosby, what is the situation right now, and do we have an update on any of the victims' conditions?
Right. I'll start with the condition of the victims or the occupants that we had to transport. The fire was very intense when we got on scene, and the primary fire building individuals didn't have a way to get out, and there was a lot of self-evacuating occurring before we got here, and a few people actually had to jump from the upper stories. So one of those occupants was transported urgently and is in critical but stable condition. 3 others were transported, not as serious but serious nonetheless. So that status remains the same. What we still have is a tremendous amount of individuals that live in these buildings that are being sheltered in place at the Baden Library just down the street, and we're working with the Red Cross and the city's emergency management to find some housing for them. So they're still displaced. As you can see behind me, the primary fire building was a complete loss with a lot of damage to the adjacent exposure buildings as well.
Now, Captain Mosby, we know it's very early on in the investigation, but do y'all have any idea what started this fire?
Right, that's a great question, Mercedes. One of the individuals that we really need to talk to is one that's actually in the hospital in critical condition. So, and as far as the cause, there's nothing really I can steer you towards right now. Our investigative team was here, our chief investigator was here earlier, and they're following up on all leads, and they'll be interviewing the occupants at the hospital to try to put the puzzle pieces together to find out exactly what happened.
Now, with this one in particular, we heard people had to actually jump from the building to escape to get to safety. So what were crews battling when this broke out?
Right, you know, this building, it's particularly challenging. Its construction type. It has a common roof. And with a common roof, once the fire gets in the roof, if there are no fire stops to slow the spread of the fire, or to stop it, if you will, it's going to run the complete roof line. And that's what we had here. The initial building that the fire broke out into, the fire was so intense on the inside, it was actually into the stairwell, which is the same stairwell that the individuals would have had to use to get out of the building. So it was more or less you had to jump or, you know, have a ladder, but we weren't here at the time they made that decision. So a good decision nonetheless, because that's what they needed to do to get to safety. But that's just how intense it was. And then once it got in that roof line, it just spread rapidly. And that's one of the ways you have to stop it. You have to perform what we call a trench cut in the roof. And there were several performed here. And what that does is allows the travel of the fire to slow down and stop and vent instead of spreading along further in additional roof or void space.
We know you mentioned, but we know roughly 30 people are sheltering at the Baden Library. What's next for them? And you mentioned the Red Cross is helping them, but how can people at home help them?
That's a good question. I would always encourage folks to donate to the Red Cross. If I said 30, I misspoke. There are upwards to 40 occupants that are displaced, and we anticipate that number going up. These are just folks that have units here. That's not counting the people that might be staying with them. So, you know, if you can give or reach out to the Red Cross to figure out how you can support, that'd be a good idea, because their mission obviously is to support us after fires, and they do a very good job of that. But that number at 40 is likely to increase.
Okay, thank you so much, Captain Mosby. Yeah, that was 10 more than we reported earlier this morning, and so we appreciate you for waking up with us and kind of really getting us into the detail of all of this.
No problem at all, Travis and Mercedes, anytime.
Thank you.